Ready, steady, go. So now we are going to revise SA 610. We are going to revise SA 610. 10 means I for internal auditor. I for internal auditor, that means using the work of internal auditor. So remember one thing, sir, every entity can have two types of internal auditors. Sir, what? They can have their own department, what we call the internal audit function, or they can have an external auditor, which we call the internal auditor. Okay? So now as a statutory auditor also, I have two options, whether to use the work of internal audit function or take the direct assistance of internal auditor. It is just like taking the services of a maid. In case of a maid at home, what we do? We direct her, we supervise her, and then when she is done with the work, we review her. That's what happens. Yes, sir. So that's how we move ahead. When you are using the work of internal audit function, first of all, decide whether you can use the work or not. How do we decide? Sir, if the internal audit function is from DISCO. If the internal audit function is from DISCO, we will use the work. DISCO means disciplined and systematic approach. Co means competence. O means objectivity. Come on. Dis means systematic and disciplined approach. Co means competence, and O for objectivity. If these three qualities are there, we can use the work of internal audit function. Now, sir, what are the types of work? What are the types of work where you can take their assistance? First of all, TOC. TOC means test of control, test of the compliance with laws and regulation. Basically, these are the activities which are generally done by the first year audit article. First year audit article, test of control, test of compliance with the regulatory requirement. Now, when it comes to substantive procedure, these are the procedures with limited judgment. And the last activities are of just of looking. So looking at what? Looking at the inventory count, that is observing the inventory count, SA 501. Or looking at or tracing the transactions in the information system. Tracing the transactions in the information system, whether the transactions are recorded properly or not. So these are the 5 activities where we can use their work. Now, when you are using their work, you need to determine whether that work is adequate or not. You need to determine whether their work is adequate or not. So how do you determine? First of all, you see the person who has done, that person should have a good technical training and should be proficient. The person who has done the work should be technically trained and proficient. Then when he was doing the work, there should be some supervisor, there should be a proper review, and he should have documented the work. Supervised, reviewed, and documented. And documented two things. What are the two things? Evidence and conclusion. Evidence and conclusion. Adequate evidence has been taken to reach appropriate conclusion. Conclusions reached are appropriate in the circumstances, and proper report is issued. And last point is unusual. Say with me. Last point is unusual. That means all the unusual matters have been resolved. Now, sir, there are certain, now internal audit function part is over. Internal audit function part is over. Now we are going to discuss about what? Direct assistance of the internal auditor. When it comes to direct assistance, you cannot take the direct assistance in 4 areas. Sir, what are these 4 areas where we cannot take the direct assistance? First of all, the areas where there is significant judgment. Come on. Wherever there is significant judgment, wherever the risk of material misstatement is high, these both are related point. Whenever the judgment would be more, the chances of going wrong are higher. So a significant judgment, risk of material misstatement is high, plus that part is already reported. That work is already reported to whom? The management and the TCWG by the internal auditor. So we don't want the duplication of work. And the last point is decisions of the external auditor. Decisions in the SA 610 which are to be taken by the external auditor, those decisions should be taken by him only. Those decisions should be taken by him only. Now your question, sir, what are the areas of significant judgment? For the significant judgment, you need sufficient degree. Come on everyone. You need sufficient degree. Sufficient degree means if you want to evaluate the sufficiency of test performed, you need a significant judgment. When you want to see the disclosures are proper or not, disclosures are adequate or not, you need a significant judgment. When you are assessing the appropriateness of going concern, you need a significant judgment. When you want to assess the risk of material misstatement, you need a significant judgment. And E for accounting estimates. Whenever you are evaluating the accounting estimates, you need a significant judgment. So sufficiency of test performed, adequacy of disclosure, assessment of the going concern, risk of material misstatement, and accounting estimate all need a significant judgment. When you have used the work, you need to document something. Sir, what do you need to document? First of all, you need to document your basis of decision. How you evaluated the objectivity, how you evaluated the competence. When you evaluated the objectivity and competence, then you must have decided the nature and extent of work to be used. The nature and extent of work to be used, and the last points are WWW. Last points are WWW. Sir, what is WWW? Whenever you are using the work of internal auditor for providing direct assistance, you need to enter into a written agreement. Yes, sir. Written agreement with the entity, written agreement with the internal auditor. Got it, sir. Then you need to review the work. So you need to tell who reviewed the work. Who reviewed the work, date and extent of review. And the last W is for reviewing, you need a working paper. For reviewing, you need a working paper. So W for working paper. WWW. Who reviewed the work, working paper, and last W was written agreement with the entity, written agreement with the internal auditor. So these are your third, fourth, and fifth point talking about the documentation. And last point that we discussed was evaluation of objectivity. Whenever you are evaluating the objectivity of internal auditor, what you see? So sir, we see what? We see the interest and the relationship. Interest and the relationship, this is the same thing we studied in SS 620 also. Here also we are doing the same thing. Interest and relationship. Interest means the financial interest, relationship means the personal relationship. Then you see the first line, the extent to which the organization status and policies and procedures, they support the internal auditor's objectivity. And last point was what? It was a little different one. Department. That means the work to which the department relates. Is he having some association? Is the internal auditor having the association with the department? Please remember this last point. Just you need to remember this last point and nothing else. And yes, remember one thing. No need to remember this, but yeah, just realize it. Realize it from your heart. Sir, what? If you want to fly, how you fly? Sir, you fly only when you give up everything that weighs you down. Everything that is stopping you from flying, just get it away. Just ask it to go tata bye bye. Okay? Just tata bye bye everything that is weighing you down if you want to fly in life. Say tata bye bye to laziness. Say tata bye bye to procrastination. Say tata bye to all the bad habits that you have. Then only you will be able to fly and go high and high and high. So thanks a lot everyone for joining it. It took us around 8 minutes to complete this revision, but how was it possible? Only because of you. So let's have a big round of applause for all of you. Okay, sir. So that's all for today. Can I take one commitment from you? Can I take one commitment from you? Yes, sir. Please, okay. Please do solve the question bank. Do solve the question bank, and we will have a question bank session also. We will have a Zoom question bank session also in which we will discuss the question bank. But before we discuss, I want you all to go through the question bank, see the questions, solve them yourself, and it would be amazing learning experience if you attend the session after that. Okay? So make sure you are solving the question bank and revising whatever we discussed today. And yeah, that's all for right now. Keep enjoying, keep studying with happiness, because then only we progress. Have a great day ahead.